Hey everyone, and welcome to the Azure Database for MySQL Ignite Holiday Special. I'm Neil Dsouza. I'm a product manager with Azure Database for MySQL team at Microsoft, and I'm joined by my colleague Shreya or Aithal. Uh, Today we bring you a deep dive on 7 exciting Azure Database for MySQL innovations, which were unveiled last month at Microsoft Ignite 2024 event. First, Shreya will provide an overview on all the 7 announcements. Then we'll learn more about the release of 2 new version support along with demo. This is basically the MySQL 8.4 LTS and MySQL 9.1 innovation release. Um, this is presented by our PM Elendil Zheng, a senior product manager at Microsoft. And finally, I'll walk you through 2 new integrations that enhance developer experience with Azure Database for MySQL. We'll also share with you some important links to these announcements and MySQL sessions at Ignite that happened last month. Now let's get started. So to begin with, Shreya, the stage is yours. Let's go over the Ignite announcements.
Thanks so much, Neil. Hi, everybody. We announced 7 new features and integrations at Ignite conference last month, making the service more efficient, resilient, easy to onboard to, and easy to use as well. First, we are thrilled to announce the public preview of Azure Database for MySQL support for 2 exciting new MySQL versions, MySQL 9.1 Innovation Release and MySQL 8.4 LTS. You'll now be able to create MySQL 9 servers, test out the latest MySQL innovations that come with it, and evaluate powerful enhancements it brings to your applications and workloads on Azure. The latest MySQL innovations on 9.1 includes JavaScript store procedures and vector data types as well. You can test all this out in a limited support environment, which means limited features and a 30-day life cycle, perfectly suitable for your test and dev environments. Meanwhile, for environments that demand reliability, stability, and advanced functionality, you can create servers with 8.4 and explore its enhanced replication management capabilities, improved observability, and more. That means whether you're building mission critical applications with MySQL 8.4 or exploring the future of MySQL with 9.1, Azure Database for MySQL has you covered. We'll dive deeper into these releases in the upcoming section by Elendil Zheng. Next is a feature of a feature. Next is a set of features that are coming soon in the upcoming month. Resiliency is one priority that cannot be compromised, right? Especially during zonal outages. Ensuring seamless server recovery is absolutely essential for business continuity. Coming soon is a new enhancement that will make Azure Database for MySQL flexible server business critical service tier, zone resilient by default, providing the highest level of availability at no additional cost. What this means is regardless of whether your business critical flexible servers are enabled with HA, so HA or non-HA, your server data and log files will be hosted in zone resilient, zone redundant storage by default. Next is a set of features that streamline the migration processes and tooling. Azure Migrate is your go-to platform for discovering, assessing, and migrating servers, as well as databases, and even web applications from physical environments to Azure at scale, whether it's to PaaS or IaaS services on Azure. With the public preview release of the MySQL discovery and assessment feature in Azure Migrate, you can identify your MySQL instances and as well as their attributes within your environment. You can evaluate their readiness for migration to Azure Database for MySQL as a target, and even receive recommendations on appropriate compute and storage queue for hosting MySQL workloads on Azure Database for MySQL, along with the associated costs. Next is the unified migration experience. Two amazing migration tools combined into one. Azure Database Migration Service, which is Azure DMS, is a fully managed service designed to facilitate seamless logical migrations with minimum downtime. And Azure Database for MySQL Import, which provides an even faster migration path, enabling you to migrate using physical backup files of the source servers, that is physical migration. We are excited to bring the goodness of both these tools into DMS. Therefore, announcing the public preview of the unified migration experience with Azure DMS, which offers a centralized migration experience for both logical and physical migrations. And finally, two new integrations which greatly simplify development processes to build end-to-end, highly scalable, intelligent applications. Magento is a popular open source e-commerce web app platform written in PHP, used by thousands of merchants worldwide, from small businesses to large enterprises as well. We are excited to announce the release of a one-click ARM template for deploying Magento and Azure. We'll share more details about the underlying architecture and ease of use in the upcoming sections. And we're also excited to announce Azure Database for MySQL input and output bindings in Azure Functions. You can now enhance your MySQL workloads to use the power of Azure Functions to effortlessly create serverless and event-driven applications that demand dynamic scalability, enhanced performance, and availability while still controlling costs. These bindings will help you do more with your data, simplify development by minimizing the code required. Basically, it's a low code technology to read from and write to MySQL databases in various languages. So, to summarize, these 7 updates will give you the tools to harness new innovations with new version support, ensure high availability with the new resiliency feature that we released, speed up intelligent app development, and also simplify the migration processes. You can try out these features today and experience the difference that they make for your applications. To learn more, go to aka.ms/ignite24/MySQL and check out our Ignite announcement blog. That's all from me. Back to you, Neil.
Thank you, Shreya, for that detailed overview. Now, for the next section, to deep dive into the announcement of Azure Database for MySQL, supporting the MySQL versions 9.1 innovation release and 8.4 LTS release. Here's a demo by Elendil Zheng, Senior Product Manager at Microsoft.
Hi everyone. Today I'm excited to introduce the latest MySQL version now supported on Azure MySQL Flexible Server, MySQL 8.4, the newest long-term support version, and MySQL 9.1, an innovation release. These versions bring a mix of stability and cutting-edge features, enabling developers and database administrators to build, innovate, and optimize their applications like never before. MySQL 8.4 is designed for production environments that require stability, reliability, and long-term support. It comes with enhanced replication management, which allows for more precise control over data replication and improved failover handling, making it ideal for high availability applications. Additionally, MySQL 8.4 offers advanced observability tools, giving you deeper insights into database performance and activity. As an LTS version, it provides a stable platform for mission-critical applications with predictable maintenance and support. MySQL 9.1 is part of the Innovation Release Program, giving users early access to experimental features that showcase the future of MySQL. This release introduces JavaScript store procedures, which allow for flexible and dynamic scripting within the database, and a new vector data type designed for model workloads like machine learning and analytics. Unlike MySQL 8.4, the innovation release operates in a limited support environment, which is perfect to experimentation and evaluation. It's a great opportunity to explore next generation features before they are widely available. Now let's go to a demo of showcase how to creating and explore the new Azure MySQL 9.1 version support. Let's start by creating a new innovation release server. So first let's go to the Azure MySQL creating page. Select the resource group, type in the server name. When selected the regions, please note that since it's a public preview features, so we will only support it in some selected regions. So make sure you select the right regions. And for the MySQL versions, you will find that there is 9.1 versions and 8.0 versions that capable to select. And please note that 8.4 versions is a LTS version, so we'll provide the feature parities between other Azure MySQL versions like the 5.7 and the 8.0. Well, it's very simple to create this server. We can navigate to this new server's overview page and take a quick look at this new server. So you may notice that these replication and maintenance and other features are grayed out. This is because that innovation release server is hosted in a isolated environment, which we will delete the servers after 30 days it has been created. And so please make sure that you do not post any of your production data into innovation release server. And now let's add a new test database to this server to make sure that some basic function works for the innovation release server. Now let's go to our terminal to try to connect to these new innovation release servers. Please note that you should use the latest Oracle MySQL client shell to connect to the innovation release servers. Now we have connected to the innovation release servers, and you may notice that the server version is 9.1 Azure source distribution. That means that the server's real engine version is 9.1 innovation release. Now let's switch to the test database and try to create a new table here. This table will include some vector columns, which is newly supported in the innovation release version. And let's try to insert some vector data type. And let's try to select those new insert vector data. Cool. Once you've created your vector databases, you're all set to start building AI applications. Now you can see that all these new features of 9.1 innovation release servers can be used in our new Azure MySQL innovation release support.
Thank you, Elendil. So here are some of the basically the link, short link to the blog post announcing the MySQL 9.1 and MySQL 8.4 releases. Please go ahead and go through it for more information. And now I'll go to the next section, which is we'll talk through two new announcements which greatly improve developer experience. One is the Magento Lab Stack application platform, and the second is MySQL bindings in Azure Functions. First, we'll start with the MySQL bindings in Azure Functions. So before we begin, let's understand what's Azure Functions. It's basically code first, event-driven serverless compute, and it's scalable. Within the Azure Functions, we are incorporating into the couple of the features. One is the bindings and the triggers. Triggers is basically you can execute a piece of code based on a certain logic and under specific conditions. And bindings is where a declarative way to connect to data from within your code. You can it's implementable for read and write both. Now if you want to learn more about Azure Functions, here is a quick link on Microsoft Learn, and you can scan the QR code as well. What we have implemented for Azure Database for MySQL bindings in Azure is input bindings and output bindings. Currently, this feature is in public preview, and in future, you will also see the trigger bindings incorporated. So with input bindings, if there is a read operation from the database, the logic in the function app can check if it is a valid request, and if yes, and it can read from the Azure database for MySQL, the database, and send a success response. If it cannot find that information or it cannot read for any reason, it will formulate an error response and send it back to the function app, which will send it back to your application or whichever integration that you have incorporated. Similarly, in output bindings, when there is a write operation, the function app can check whether the request is valid. And if yes, it can go to that specific table in the Azure Database for MySQL and perform the right operation, basically the upsert, which can be insert or update, and formulate a success response. If it's not able to write for it, if the logic finds that this needs not be written, then it will return a error response and sends the output back to the source or whichever the information came from. So this is about high level how this is incorporated. For a deep dive, you can refer to our previous webinars where we have a demo, and the link here on the screen will take you to through a blog post which explains this much more in detail. You can scan the QR code as well. Now to move on to the next section is basically Magento on Azure, how it is incorporated in Azure using multiple Azure component integrations. So this is a architecture of the entire setup. So we use Azure Resource Manager template in JSON format to automate this deployment. So we use a temporary Azure VM. Let me first take you through all the components. First and foremost, most important is the virtual network, where the AKS, Azure Kubernetes Services Infra resides on and provides connectivity to all the other Azure components. So here within this, so the client app, when it sends the request or a user that connects to your Magento application, the request comes to the public IP and to the AKS. The one of the AKS pod will be running Varnish, which is a traffic manager, which will redirect the connections to any of the Magento pods or containers which are running the application. And for search, Elasticsearch is implemented in another container pod, and Redis for caching purposes. And finally, the database connectivity from the VNet to the Azure Database for MySQL Server. So as part of the deployment process, we first configure RBAC identity, managed identity, which is utilized for deployment. And we also spin up a temporary virtual machine, Azure VM. You can see the number 8, which will perform these some of the automations after the template is deployed. So the template will first deploy all these components, and then for configuring the AKS containers, the Azure VM runs the scripts to create it. And basically, the images used in the AKS container are stored in the Azure Container Registry, and they will be pulled through the RBAC roles and the rest of the configuration. So we also use have an integration with Azure Key Vault. If you want to use your own certificate for SSL connectivity, encrypted connectivity to the Magento application, you can store those details into the Azure Key Vault securely, and that can be used during the deployment. And you have a one-click deployment experience. So with this, basically you just have to click um, on the link to go to your website, log in the Azure portal, and provide some of the inputs as to what should be the credentials for Magento, what should be the credentials for your Azure Database for MySQL Server, and some of the basic information, and rest of it is done by our automation for the deployment. And it will provide you the Magento application ready in your hand. You basically load your products database into the database server, and you are good to go. So that's it for the Magento on Azure high level. For a deeper dive, you can go to the blog post at aka.ms Magento on Azure, and you can scan the QR code as well. And Now, folks, that's all for today. As shared by Shreya earlier, to learn more about all the announcements, navigate to our All Up announcement blog at ak.ms Ignite 24 MySQL. We presented at multiple sessions at Ignite last month. For some more exclusive sneak peeks and to learn more about other open source databases, navigate to the session recording available at the links shared here. As we close out, I'll leave you with four more things. First is to check out our contributor initiative at ak.ms, MySQL contributors, and start contributing today to get the badges, official recognition, and more. Second, to learn more about our service, you can use these resources or feel free to reach out to us on our email address. And third, stay tuned for more updates and announcements by following us on social media and subscribing to our YouTube channel. Our handle on YouTube and Twitter is at AzureDBMySQL. And finally, if you want to feature in our upcoming webinars or collaborate with us in any collateral, fill out this form and let us know. Also, you can use the same form for any feedback on the session, or if you have any requests or suggestions for the topics we should be covering in upcoming sessions. Thank you all for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed this episode. Wishing you all happy holidays and Happy New Year.